Well, this is going to be a shit show. I am Jeremiah Talks, or Insanity, depending on where you found me. Yeah. Keep the applause going. Fucking reality TV at its fucking finest. Let's all just masturbate about this shit.
Members of Congress, I have the high privilege and the distinct
the high privilege
of presenting to you the President of the United States.
Beautiful. This is like the loading screens for the Sonic the Hedgehog 06 game. You get from one applause to like a very short chain of dialogue, and then there's just more dialogue immediately after.
Mr. Vice President, members of Congress, the First Lady of the United States, and my fellow Americans. Less than 1 year has passed since I first stood at this podium in this majestic chamber to speak on behalf of the American people and to address their concerns, their hopes, and their dreams. That night, our new administration had already taken very swift action. A new tide of optimism was already sweeping across our land. Each day since,
wow,
we have gone forward with a clear vision.
He's already sounding like
a righteous
from
mission
They
to make
Live.
America great again for all Americans.
Fucking standing ovation. This is what masturbation looks like. For real, we got all these people just standing
over the last year, we have made incredible progress and achieved extraordinary success. We have faced challenges we expected and others we could never have imagined. We have shared in the heights of victory and the pains of hardship. We have endured floods and fires and storms. But through it all, we have seen the beauty of America's soul and the steel in America's spine. Each test has forged
I
new
didn't know
American
that
heroes to
America
remind
had
us
spinal
who
corrective
we are
surgery.
and show us
The steel
what
in
we
America's
can
spine. Amazing.
We saw the volunteers of the Cajun Navy racing to the rescue with their fishing boats to save people in the aftermath of a totally devastating hurricane. We saw strangers shielding strangers from a hail of gunfire on the Las Vegas Strip. We heard tales of Americans like Coast Guard Petty Officer Ashley Leopard, who is here tonight in the gallery with Melania.
Wow, loud ass clapping right there. Man, just like that overshadowing everything else, like really highlights what it's like to be in a statist society.
Through 18 hours of wind and rain, Ashley braved live power lines and deep water to help save more than 40 lives. Ashley, we all thank you. Thank you very much. We heard about Americans like firefighter David Dahlberg. He's here with us also. David faced down walls of flame to rescue almost 60 children trapped at a California summer camp threatened by those devastating wildfires. To everyone still recovering in Texas, Florida, Louisiana, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands, everywhere, we are with you, we love you, and we always will pull through together, always.
Always pull through together, always, as long as I don't have some bullshit drama that I'm trying to stir up. Distract the American people from the fact that I'm just like a whole president.
Thank you to David and the brave people of California. Thank you very much, David. Great job. Some trials over the past year touched this chamber very personally. With us tonight is one of the toughest people ever to serve in this House. A guy who took a bullet, almost died, and was back to work 3.5 months later. The legend from Louisiana, Congressman Steve Scalise.
He's announcing this shit like the calmest WWE bullshit. Like he's calm, but he's still like the legend from Louisiana.
I think they like you, Steve. We're incredibly grateful for the heroic efforts of the Capitol police officers, the Alexandria police, and the doctors, nurses, and paramedics
started a drinking
who saved
game
his
before
life
this.
and the lives of many others, some in this room. In the aftermath, yes. In the aftermath of that terrible shooting, we came together, not as Republicans or Democrats, but as representatives of the people.
I thought that people were like
to come together only
fighting about
times
whether
of
gun
tragedy.
control
Tonight,
or heightened security
I call
should be in
upon
place.
all of us to set aside our differences, to seek out common ground and to summon the unity we
To
need to
seek
deliver
out new
for
life
the
and new
people.
civilizations.
This is really the key. These are the
To
people
boldly go
who were
where no
elected
reality
to
show
serve.
star has gone before. Probably shouldn't have been. Wow. Like so many standing ovations.
Thank you.
Honestly, though,
Over the
so many
last year,
white
the world
people,
has
like,
seen
I'm just
what we
noticing that
always knew.
thing,
No
but
people on earth are so fearless or daring or determined as Americans. If there is a mountain, we climb it. If there's a frontier, we cross it. If there's a challenge, we tame it. If there's an opportunity, we seize it. So let's begin tonight by recognizing that the state of our union
everything he's saying is
strong
egg.
because our people are strong.
Our people are strong. Oh man, that's not what you're saying when you're calling them weak for watching fate completely endorse you. You fucking dick fuck.
And together we are building a safe, strong, and proud America. Since the election, we have created 2.4 million new jobs, including 200,000 new jobs in manufacturing alone. Tremendous numbers. After years and years of wage stagnation, we are finally seeing rising wages.
Oh yeah, you're gonna blame rising wages on you? I mean, maybe the tax thing with that, but when those wages tank, you're gonna blame Obama. Because that's what y'all do.
Have hit a 45-year low. And something I'm very proud of, African American unemployment stands at the lowest rate ever.
Oh, race baiting. Oh, that's fun. Oh, gotta love that.
And Hispanic American unemployment has also reached the lowest levels in history.
Right.
Small business confidence is at an all-time high. The stock market has smashed one record after another, gaining $8 trillion and more in value in just this short period of time. The great news...
Right. Yeah, you're gonna blame heightening stock
Great news
from
for
like your
Americans.
administration.
401k,
You're not gonna look at the
retirement
trend
pension,
that
and
it's been sort
college
of
savings
rising
accounts
pretty
have
much
gone
since
through
it
the
was
roof.
there.
And just as I promised the American people from this podium 11 months ago, we enacted the biggest tax cuts and reforms in American history.
Gotta love the standing ovation. Yeah, see, this small group of people likes us.
Our massive tax cuts provide tremendous relief for the middle class and small business. To lower tax rates for hardworking Americans, we nearly doubled the standard deduction for everyone.
You doubled the standard deduction for everyone? Funny, taxation is still theft.
$24,000 earned by a married couple is completely tax-free. We also doubled the child tax credit.
So that means the more people fuck, the more people get that child tax
Typical
credit. You're
family of
fantastic.
four making $75,000 will see their tax bill reduced by $2,000,
Tax
slashing
bill.
their tax bill in half.
Yeah. Tax bill. Implying that they're billing you for services spending policies that haven't decreased
April,
under Trump.
This will be the last time you will ever file under the old and very broken system, and millions of Americans will have more take-home pay starting next month. A lot more.
We're not stealing from you as much. Please, please beg us for more of this. We are your humble leaders ruling you.
We eliminated an especially cruel tax that fell mostly on Americans, making less than $50,000 a year, forcing them to pay tremendous penalties simply because they couldn't afford government-ordered health plans. We repealed the core of the disastrous Obamacare. The individual mandate is now gone. Thank heaven.
Yeah, absolutely. You eliminated that, but you also eliminated a bunch of things that pretty much benefit corporations. Fantastic job.
We slashed the business tax rate from 35% all the way down to 21%, so American companies can compete and win against anyone else anywhere in the world. These changes alone are estimated to increase average family income by more than $4,000. A lot of money.
What have you done about the debt? Huh? What have you done
Small
about the
businesses have also received a
insolvent
massive tax
currency?
cut and can now deduct 20% of their business income. Here tonight are Steve Staub and Sandy Keplinger of Staub Manufacturing, a small, beautiful business in Ohio. They've just finished the best year in their 20-year history.
Here's an example that makes me look good. Let's ignore all the ones that don't. See how masturbatory in a State of the Union, it's just a state of my ego, whoever me is and whoever is the president.
Because of tax reform, they are handing out raises, hiring an additional 14 people, and expanding into the building next door. Good feeling.
Yeah.
One of Staub's
Good feeling.
employees, Corey Adams, is also with us tonight. Corey is an all-American worker. He supported himself through high school, lost his job during the 2008 recession, and was later hired by Staub, where he trained to become a welder. Like many hardworking Americans, Corey plans to invest his tax cut raise into his new home and his two daughters' education. Corey, please stand.
Real great way of making your, like, they pretty much started when Obama started. And people just eat this shit up. And of course he's black, so he's probably the token.
I was told that by the man that owns that company that's doing so well. So congratulations, Corey. Since we passed tax cuts, roughly 3 million workers have already gotten tax cut bonuses, many of them thousands and thousands of dollars per worker, and it's getting more every month, every week. Apple has just announced it plans to invest a total of $350
Did they remove the suicide nets on their factories?
and hire another 20,000 workers.
Notice he's very precise, but he didn't say they were hiring American workers. Outsourcing is fantastic.
And just a little while ago, ExxonMobil announced a $50 billion investment in the United States. Just a little while ago.
Because oil has nothing to do with government
this, in
expansionism.
Fact, is our new American moment. There has never been a better time to start living the American dream. So to every citizen watching at home tonight, no matter where you've been or where you've come from, this is your time. If you work hard, if you believe in yourself, if you believe in America, then you can dream anything. You can be anything. And together, we can
within
achieve
legal limits.
Absolutely anything.
Within legal limits. Which are ever increasing. Ever increasing. You can do anything we tell you you can do.
Tonight, I want to talk about what kind of future we're going to have and what kind of a nation we're going to be. All of us together as one team, one people, and one American family can do anything. We all share the same home, the same heart, the same destiny, and the same great American flag.
Oh, that's a nice little jab at secession. Flag.
Together, we are rediscovering the American way. In America, we know that faith and family, not government and bureaucracy, are the center of American life. The motto is, "In God we trust."
Yeah, the fucking practically new motto. The new motto is "In God we trust." Basically nothing. The old motto didn't have God in it. In fact, if you want to talk like mottos, I would say that like freedom of religion is relatively important.
And our amazing veterans as heroes who deserve our total and unwavering support.
Worship God, but also be sure to completely endorse the military. Completely endorse the military. Combination. That's jingoism at its finest.
Here tonight is Preston Sharp, a 12-year-old boy from Redding, California, who noticed that veterans' graves were not marked with flags on Veterans Day. He decided all by himself to change that and started a movement that has now placed 40,000 flags at the graves of our great heroes. Preston, a job well done.
Here's a little kid who knows nothing about America, much less the world. Let's definitely trust his opinion on whatever this guy's saying.
Young patriots like Preston teach all of us about our civic duty as Americans. And I met Preston a little while ago, and he is something very special that I can tell you. Great future. Thank you very much for all you've done, Preston. Thank you very much. Preston's reverence for those who have served our nation reminds us of why we salute our flag, why we put our hands on our hearts for the Pledge of Allegiance, and why we proudly stand for the national anthem.
Yep. Knew he was going there. Gotta just appeal to that bass. Fucking beautiful.
Americans love their country, and they deserve a government that shows them the same love and loyalty in return. For the last year, we have sought to restore the bonds of trust between our citizens and their government. Working with the Senate, we are appointing judges who will interpret the Constitution as written, including a great new Supreme Court justice and more circuit court judges than any new administration in the history of our country.
Yeah, presidents just love making history. It means they don't have to pay any attention to how terrible they're being as long as they make a record.
We are totally defending our Second Amendment and have taken historic actions to protect religious liberty. And we are serving our brave veterans, including giving our veterans choice in their health care decisions.
Gotta love it. Everything has to reflexively come back to something he's been banging the gavel on for years.
Last year, Congress also passed, and I signed, the landmark VA Accountability Act. Since its passage, my administration has already removed more than 1,500 VA employees who failed to give our veterans the care they deserve, and we are hiring talented people who love our vets as much as we do. And I will not stop until our veterans are properly taken care of, which has been my promise to them from the very beginning of this great journey. All Americans deserve accountability and respect, and that's what we are giving to our wonderful heroes, our veterans. Thank you.
Yeah, accountability and respect to the
tonight
veterans.
I call on Congress to empower
America.
every cabinet secretary with the authority to reward good workers and to remove federal employees who undermine the public trust or fail the American people.
More vague bullshit.
In our drive to make Washington accountable, we have eliminated more regulations in our first year than any administration in the history of our country. We have ended.
This guy should read Scott Horton's book, Fool's Errand. It's a book about why should we stand. Because we absolutely should. He wants clean coal, then maybe we should stop empowering the oil lobbies.
We are now very proudly an exporter of energy to the world. In Detroit, I halted government mandates that crippled America's great, beautiful auto workers so that we can get Motor City revving its engines again, and that's what's happening.
You know what else they're doing? They're paying cops essentially protection pay. Yeah, like thousands of dollars so that the public police can guard your business.
Are now building and expanding plants in the United States, something we haven't seen for decades. Chrysler is moving a major plant from Mexico to Michigan. Toyota and Mazda are opening up a plant in Alabama, a big one, and we haven't seen this in a long time. It's all coming back. Very soon, auto plants and other plants will be opening up all over our country. This is all news Americans are totally unaccustomed to hearing. For many years, companies and jobs were only leaving us. But now, they are roaring back, they're coming back, they want to be where the action is, they want to be in the United States of America. That's
Want to be where the action is? I think he like thinks he's still in WWE. He's just being an announcer right now. Not even like saying anything of fucking substance.
Exciting progress is happening every single day.
Exciting progress.
Access to breakthrough cures and affordable generic drugs. Last year, the FDA approved more new and generic drugs and medical devices than ever before in our country's history. We also believe that patients with terminal conditions, terminal illness, should have access to experimental treatment immediately. That could
Unless that
potentially
experimental
save their
treatment
lives.
is something
People
like
who are
marijuana.
terminally ill should not have to go from country to country to seek a cure. I want to give them a chance right here at home. It's time for Congress to give these wonderful, incredible Americans the right to try.
Somebody on Facebook just posted like this, the annoying orange agreed.
One of my greatest priorities is to reduce the price of prescription drugs.
But not to allow people to try marijuana to solve their addictions or any of these other so-called illicit drugs. Now that would be anarchy.
In many other countries, these drugs cost far less than what we pay in the United States, and it's very, very unfair. That is why I've directed my administration to make fixing the injustice of high drug prices one of my top priorities for the year.
Gotta love it. He doesn't even have to talk about the State of the Union. All he has to talk about is vague promises of things he's going to do.
And prices will come down substantially. Watch.
What?
America has also finally turned the page on decades of unfair trade deals that sacrificed our prosperity and shipped away our companies, our jobs, and our wealth. Our nation has lost its wealth, but we're getting it back so fast. The era of economic surrender is totally over. From now on, we expect trading relationships to be fair and, very importantly, reciprocal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Reciprocal. Like the exports of the exports of goods and services to Israel, and
We will work
you know,
to
stop.
fix bad trade deals and negotiate new ones, and they'll be good ones. But
Fantastic.
they'll be fair. And we will protect
They'll be fair.
American workers and American intellectual property through strong enforcement of our trade rules. As we rebuild our industries, it is also time to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure.
And all the statists roared in.
America is a nation of builders. We built the Empire State Building in just 1 year. Isn't it a disgrace that it can now take 10 years just to get a minor permit approved for the building of a simple road? I am asking both parties to come together to give us safe, fast, reliable, and modern infrastructure that our economy needs and our people deserve.
Why don't you just let Elon Musk build his tunnels? That seems like a better idea.
Tonight, I'm calling on Congress to produce a bill that generates at least $1.5 trillion for the new infrastructure investment that our country so desperately needs.
And clap for the
Every federal
roads.
dollar should be leveraged by partnering with state and local governments and, where appropriate, tapping into private sector investment to permanently fix the infrastructure deficit, and we can do it.
Permanently. You can permanently fix it. It's not like, you know, those things will require repairs or something. You can permanently fix the roads
Any bill
and the
must
rest
also
of the
streamline
infrastructure.
the permitting and approval process, getting it down to no more than 2 years and perhaps even 1. Together, we can reclaim our great building heritage.
Yeah.
We will build gleaming new roads, bridges, highways, railways, and waterways all across our land. And we will
Endless
do it
tunnels.
with American heart, and American hands, and American grit.
You just made an enemy of Elon Musk. How do you feel?
We want every American to know the dignity of a hard day's work. We want every child to be safe in their home at night. And we want every citizen to be proud of this land that we all love so much. We can lift our citizens from welfare to work, from dependence to independence, and from poverty to prosperity.
Clap. Clap, motherfuckers.
As tax cuts create new jobs, let's invest in workforce development and let's invest in job training, which we need so badly.
Yeah, job training. That's what America needs investment in, because if they didn't have that, then maybe they wouldn't have a bunch of cheap labor
so our future
done in the
workers
name
can
of
learn
training.
and craft and realize their full potential.
People just don't realize that all of these things are going to directly enrich corporations. Like, corporations get to, quote, train people on piss-easy jobs, and they get paid for it.
As America regains its strength, opportunity must be extended to all citizens. That is why this year we will embark on reforming our prisons to help former inmates who have served their time get a second chance at life.
Or maybe just pardon non-violent offenders, you fucking cockmuck. If you pardoned all non-violent offenders, that would
immigrant communities will
decimate
by immigration policies
the economic problems we have.
Of American workers and American families. For decades, open borders have allowed drugs and gangs to pour into our most vulnerable communities. They've allowed millions of low-wage workers to compete for jobs and wages against the poorest Americans. Most tragically, they have caused the loss of many innocent lives. Here tonight are two fathers and two mothers, Evelyn Rodriguez, Freddie Cuevas, Elizabeth Alvarado, and Robert Mickens. Their two teenage daughters, Kayla Cuevas and Nisa Mickens, were close friends on Long Island.
Token minority.
But in September 2016, on the eve of Nisa's 16th birthday, such a happy time it should have been, neither of them came home. These two precious girls.
And I'm sure you're going to prevent these things in the future. And I'm sure you're going to talk about all of the murders done by American citizens. And I'm sure that you're going to talk about the gangs that are made up of American citizens. Wait, fuck, no, I'm not sure of any of that. In fact, I'm sure of the opposite.
To enter the country as illegal, unaccompanied, alien minors, and wound up in Kayla and Nisa's high school. Evelyn, Elizabeth, Freddie, and Robert, tonight everyone in this chamber is praying for you. Everyone in America is grieving for you. Please stand. Thank you very much.
Everyone in this chamber is praying for you. Everyone is religious. Everyone is a member of the non-apostates. Everyone is joining in the ceremony to prevent Mexicans from Mexicaning in America. And gotta love how grieving looks. This reminds me of that cancer video where, like, very good, very good, yay.
20 million hearts are right now breaking for you. We love you. Thank you.
Man.
While we cannot imagine the depths of that kind of sorrow, we can make sure that other families never have to endure this kind of pain. Tonight I am calling on Congress to finally close the deadly loopholes that have allowed MS-13
we won't have any of that Mexican pain. All of our pain will be 100% American.
And support our ICE and Border Patrol agents. These are great people. These are great, great people that work so hard. in the midst of such danger so that this can never happen again.
Gotta love how he thinks gangs are going to respect. He's just gonna give
The United
up.
States is a compassionate nation. We are proud that we do more than any other country anywhere in the world to help the needy, the struggling,
Gotta
and the
love how he
underprivileged all over the world. But as President of the United States, my
thinks
highest loyalty,
gangs are going to respect.
my greatest compassion, my constant concern
He's just gonna
is
give
for
up.
America's children.
Apologies for
America's
that little
struggling
interruption
and
there, by the
America's
way. I was
forgotten
just trying to see if
communities.
the stream was still
I
working.
want our youth to grow up, to achieve great things. I want our poor to have their chance to rise. So tonight, I am extending an open hand to work with members of both parties, Democrats and Republicans, to protect our citizens of every background, color, religion, and creed. My duty, and the sacred duty of every elected official in this chamber, is to defend Americans, to protect their safety, their families, their communities, and their right to the American dream. Because Americans are dreamers too.
They're right to the American dream, but we will absolutely not at all protect any of it. And in fact, we will bastardize it so constantly by making it about what we want it to be about.
Security Investigation Special Agent Celestino
The American
Martinez.
Republican
He goes
dream.
by DJ and CJ. He said, call me either one. So we'll call you CJ. Served 15 years in the Air Force before becoming an ICE agent and spending the last 15 years fighting gang violence and getting dangerous criminals off of our streets. Tough job. At one point, MS-13 leaders
Here's our
ordered
minority that we
CJ's
think is
murder,
going to
and they wanted
provide
it
a
to happen
really good public face
but he did
for
not
deporting
cave
minorities.
to threats or to fear. Last May, he commanded an operation to track down gang members on Long Island. His team has arrested nearly 400, including more than 220 MS-13 gang members. And I have to tell you, what the Border Patrol and ICE have done, we have sent thousands and thousands and thousands of MS-13 horrible people out of this country or into our prisons. So I just want to congratulate you, CJ. You're a brave guy. Thank you very much.
You know something I noticed? A lot of these people need to learn how to tie a tie better, or at least get ones that fit. But look pleased to be there.
And I asked CJ, what's the secret? He said, we're just tougher than they are. And I like that answer.
You know, I think he's going for
Now
the
let's
record
get
of
Congress
longest
to
State of the
stage
Union
you.
address.
And all of the people in this great chamber have to do it. We have no choice. CJ, we're going to send you reinforcements, and we're going to send them to you quickly. It's what you need.
Because, like, that's the only reason to have this many clapping
Over the next
sessions.
few weeks, the House and Senate will be voting on an immigration reform package. In recent months, my administration has met extensively with both Democrats and Republicans to craft a bipartisan approach to immigration reform. Based on these discussions, we presented Congress with a detailed proposal that should be supported by both parties as a fair compromise, one where nobody gets everything they want, but where our country gets the critical reforms it needs and must have. Here are the 4 pillars of our plan. The first pillar of our framework generously offers a path to citizenship for 1.8 million illegal immigrants who were brought here by their parents at a young age. That covers almost 3 times more people than the previous administration covered.
Beautiful.
Under our plan,
So instead of
those who
addressing
meet
the fact
education
that,
and work
you know,
requirements and show good
you're
moral
separating
character
families,
will be able to become full citizens of the United States over a 12-year period.
and ending jobs,
The second pillar
fundamentally
fully
altering
secures
communities,
the border.
paying for a useless wall that will be easy to get around and over and whatever else. Let's just make this about how terrible it is.
That means building a great wall on the southern border, and it means hiring more heroes like CJ to keep our communities safe. Crucially,
And of
our
course,
plan
the Zodiac
closes
killer
the
is a
terrible
minority
loopholes
too,
exploited by
technically.
criminals and terrorists to enter our country, and it finally ends the horrible and dangerous practice of catch and release. The third pillar ends the visa lottery, a program that randomly hands out green cards without any regard for skill, merit, or the safety of American people.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the safety of the American people can be increased by not handing out green cards rather than, you know, decreasing the amount of people killed by cops.
One that admits people who are skilled, who want to work, who will contribute to our society, and who will love and respect our country.
You know how many people are on welfare here that are citizens? You don't need to reduce immigration to reduce the amount of people that don't want to work, sucking off the system. You need to reduce the amount of people that are on welfare here, or, you know, alter shit economy that people need to do that, or have this system be expanded to this level anyway.
Under the current broken system, a single immigrant can bring in virtually unlimited numbers of distant relatives. Under our plan, we focus on the immediate family by limiting sponsorships to spouses and minor children.
Yeah, those kids. Those fucking kids, they're the problem.
This vital reform is necessary not just for our economy, but for our security and for the future of America. In recent weeks, 2 terrorist attacks in New York were made possible by the visa lottery and chain migration. In the age of terrorism, these programs present risks we can just no longer afford. It's time to reform.
It's time to reform
Immigration rules and finally bring our immigration system into the 21st century. These four pillars represent a down-the-middle compromise and one that will create a safe, modern, and lawful immigration system. For over 30 years,
Safe,
Washington
modern,
has
and
tried
lawful
failed
immigration
to
system. Get the
solve this
magic
problem.
paper of
This
citizenship.
Congress
They're
will be
totally
the
not
one
going to be unsafe.
that
And that
finally
will totally
makes it happen.
end
Most
the
importantly, these
terrible
four
things
pillars
that
will
violent people
produce
do.
legislation that fulfills
And this will
my
solve the crime
ironclad
problems of
pledge
Americans, right?
to sign a bill that puts America first. So let's come together, set politics aside, and finally get the job done.
Right. The job. Nice vague verbiage there, man.
These reforms will also support our response to the terrible crisis of opioid and drug addiction. Never before has it been like it is now. It is terrible. We have to do something
Then
about
stop
it.
importing
In
it from
2016,
Afghanistan.
We lost 64,000 Americans to drug overdoses. 174 deaths per day, 7 per hour. We must
And it's
get
all the
much
immigrants'
tougher
fault, right?
on drug dealers and pushers if we are going to succeed in stopping this scourge.
Oh, it looks like it cut out on me a little bit.
My administration is committed to fighting the drug epidemic and helping get treatment for those in need, for those who have been so terribly hurt. The struggle will be long and it will be difficult, but as Americans always do, in the end, we will succeed, we will prevail.
We will succeed and prevail on this thing that we've been doing for fucking decades.
As we have seen tonight, the most difficult challenges bring out the best in America. We see a vivid expression of this truth in the story of the Holetz family of New Mexico. Ryan Holetz is 27 years old, an officer with the Albuquerque Police Department. He's here tonight with his wife, Rebecca. Thank you, Ryan. Last year, Ryan was on duty when he saw a pregnant, homeless woman preparing to inject heroin. When Ryan told her she was going to harm her unborn child, she began to weep. She told him she didn't know where to turn, but badly wanted a safe home for her baby. In that moment, Ryan said he felt God speak to him. You will do it because you can. He heard those words. He took out a picture of his wife and their 4 kids. Then he went home to tell his wife, Rebecca. In an instant, she agreed to adopt. The Holetz named their new daughter Hope. Ryan and Rebecca, you embody the goodness of our nation. Thank you.
Yeah, well, this success story is certainly a cop. Cops, firefighters, military, something like that. You know, Nothing, no civilians, really. Not unless they make his jobs numbers look good.
Thank you, Ryan and Rebecca. As we rebuild America's strength and confidence at home, we are also restoring our strength and standing abroad. Around the world, we face rogue regimes, terrorist groups, and rivals like China and Russia that challenge our interests, our economy, and our values. In confronting these horrible dangers, we know that weakness is the surest path to conflict, and unmatched power is the surest means to our true and great defense. For this reason, I am asking Congress to end the dangerous defense sequester and fully fund our great military.
Capitulate to my budget deal. It's the hour, and succeed where the others have failed. Jingoism is bullshit.
As part of our defense, we must modernize and rebuild our nuclear arsenal, hopefully never having to use it, but making it so strong and so powerful that it will deter any acts of aggression by any other nation or anyone else.
You know, at least all these fucking fat losers are getting a calf workout.
Perhaps someday in the future there will be a magical moment when the countries of the world will get together to eliminate their nuclear weapons. Unfortunately, we are not there yet, sadly. Last year, I also pledged that we would work with our allies to extinguish ISIS from the face of the earth. 1 year later, I am proud to report that the coalition to defeat ISIS has liberated very close to 100% of the territory just recently held by these killers in Iraq and in Syria and in other locations as well.
They took down the boogeyman that our government set up. How noble. Clap. You better fucking clap. You might be the next boogeyman.
But there is much more work to be done. We will continue our fight until ISIS is defeated. Army Staff Sergeant Justin Peck is here tonight. Near Raqqa last November, Justin and his comrade, Chief Petty Officer Kenton Stacy, were on a mission to clear buildings that ISIS had rigged with explosive so that civilians could return to that city, hopefully soon and hopefully safely. Clearing the second floor of a vital hospital, Kenton Stacy was severely wounded by an explosion. Immediately, Justin bounded into the booby-trapped and unbelievably dangerous and unsafe building and found Kenton, but in very, very bad shape. He applied pressure to the wound and inserted a tube to reopen an airway. He then performed CPR for 20 straight minutes during the ground transport and maintained artificial respiration through 2.5 hours and through emergency surgery. Kenton Stacy would have died if it were not for Justin's selfless love for his fellow warrior. Tonight, Kenton is recovering in Texas. Raqqa is liberated, And Justin is wearing his new Bronze Star with a V for Valor. Staff Sergeant Peck, all of America salutes you.
Fucking I don't. I wish you weren't in those fucking places alive.
Terrorists who do things like place bombs in civilian hospitals are evil. When possible, we have no choice but to annihilate them. When necessary, we must be able to detain and question them. But we must be clear, terrorists are not merely criminals. They are unlawful enemy combatants.
Yeah, like contrasted with the lawful enemy combatants, right?
And when captured overseas, they should be treated like the terrorists they are. In the past, we have foolishly released hundreds and hundreds of dangerous terrorists, only to meet them again on the battlefield, including the ISIS leader, al-Baghdadi, who we captured, who we had, who we released. So today, I'm keeping another promise. I just signed, prior to walking in, an order directing Secretary Mattis, who is doing a great job. Thank you. To re-examine our military detention policy and to keep open the detention facilities in Guantanamo Bay.
Oh, yeah. Because, of course, you're not going to close down a highly ineffective torture prison. Of course, you're not going to respect the lives of people who have possibly done nothing wrong.
Continue to have all necessary
People who are only held in such essentially, they're not American citizens.
Wherever we find them.
You would keep that open, wouldn't you?
For them, it will now be Guantanamo Bay. At the same time, as of a few months ago, our warriors in Afghanistan have new rules of engagement. Along with their heroic Afghan partners, our military is no longer undermined by artificial timelines, and we no longer tell our enemies our plans. Last month, I also took an action endorsed unanimously by the U.S. Senate just months before. I recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel.
Gotta pay off those Zionists somehow.
Shortly
They got you
afterwards,
in.
dozens of countries
Gotta
voted
pay 'em
in
off.
the United Nations General Assembly against America's sovereign right to make this decision. In 2016, American taxpayers generously sent those same countries more than $20 billion in aid. That is why tonight I am asking Congress to pass legislation to help ensure American foreign assistance dollars always serve American interests and only go to friends of America, not enemies of America.
To friends of Israel, not enemies of Israel.
As we strengthen
Half of this shit is clapping.
friendships all around the world, we are also restoring clarity about our adversaries. When the people of Iran rose up against the crimes of their corrupt dictatorship, I did not stay silent. America stands with the people of Iran in their courageous struggle for freedom.
Man, people like Trump are exactly why Chris Kyle got to lie about Jesse Ventura. This jingoistic, xenophobic bullshit believe the military and the Republican establishment at all costs.
In the terrible Iran
Oh man,
nuclear
that's
deal.
exactly
My
by
administration
his horse
has
shit
also
without
imposed
any
tough
proof,
sanctions on the
without
communist
any
and
evidence. They just
socialist
believe this
dictatorships
guy.
in Cuba and Venezuela. But no regime has oppressed its own citizens more totally or brutally than the cruel dictatorship in North Korea. North Korea's reckless pursuit of nuclear missiles could very soon threaten our homeland. We are waging a campaign of maximum pressure to prevent that from ever happening. Past experience has taught us that complacency and concessions only invite aggression and provocation. I will not repeat the mistakes of past administrations that got us into this very dangerous position. We need only look at the depraved character of the North Korean regime to understand the nature of the nuclear threat it could pose to America and to our allies. Otto Warmbier was a hard-working student at the University.
You know,
of
it'd be
Virginia,
funny
and a great
if North
student he
Korea
was.
became the new
On his way to
ISIS,
study
or Al Qaeda,
abroad
or
in
Al
Asia,
Nusra, or
Otto joined a
Taliban.
tour.
They're
North
ratcheting
Korea.
up exactly like
At
they
its
did with these
conclusion,
other people.
This wonderful young man was arrested and charged with crimes against the state. After a shameful trial, the dictatorship sentenced Otto to 15 years of hard labor before returning him to America last June, horribly injured and on the verge of death. He passed away just days after his return. Otto's wonderful parents, Fred and Cindy Warmbier, are here with us tonight, along with Otto's brother and sister, Austin and Greta. Please.
Maybe if you wouldn't meddle in other countries' affairs, you wouldn't be crying right now.
Incredible people. You are powerful witnesses to a menace that threatens our world, and your strength truly inspires us all. Thank you very much. Thank you. Tonight, we pledge to honor Otto's memory with total American resolve. Thank you. Finally, we are joined by one more witness to the ominous nature of this regime. His name is Mr. Ji Sung-ho. In 1996, Sung-ho was a starving boy in North Korea. One day he tried to steal coal from a railroad car to barter for a few scraps of food, which were very hard to get. In the process, he passed out on the train tracks, exhausted from hunger. He woke up as a train ran over his limbs. He then endured multiple amputations without anything to dull the pain or the hurt. His brother and sister gave what little food they had to help him recover and ate dirt themselves, permanently stunting their own growth. Later, he was tortured by North Korean authorities after returning from a brief visit to China. His tormentors wanted to know if he'd met any Christians. He had, and he resolved that.
Fuck you. Fuck you, Trump.
Thousands of miles on
Like,
crutches,
yeah.
all across China.
Is
and
that
Southeast
Christians
Asia
have
freedom.
things to fear?
Most of his family followed. His father was caught.
Christians
trying to
operate
escape
the
and was tortured
biggest
to
military
death.
in the world. Most of the
Today, he
people in
lives
the
in
U.S.
Seoul,
military are
where he
Christians.
rescues other defectors and broadcasts.
When
into
people
North
say that
Korea
there are no
what the
atheists in
regime
foxholes,
fears
they don't
most,
mean
the truth.
that
Today,
there are
he has a new
Muslims
leg.
in foxholes or that there are
Sung-ho,
Hindus in
I
foxholes.
understand you
They
still
mean
keep those
it's
old
the
crutches
religion
as a reminder
that people
of
should
how far
turn
you've
to
come.
in their
Your
time
great
of need.
sacrifice is an inspiration
Fuck you, Trump.
to us all. Please, thank you. Sung-ho's story is a testament to the yearning of every human soul to live in freedom. It was that same yearning for freedom that nearly 250 years ago gave birth to a special place called America. It was a small cluster of colonies caught between a great ocean and a vast wilderness. It was home to an incredible people with a revolutionary idea that they could rule themselves, that they could chart their own destiny, and that together they could light up the entire world. That is what our country has always been about. That is what Americans have always stood for, always strived for, and
Except
always
that
done.
they don't, and they
At the
always
top,
beg for more
the dome
regulations.
of this capital stands the Statue of Freedom. She stands tall and dignified among the monuments to our ancestors who fought and lived and died to protect her. Monuments to Washington and Jefferson and Lincoln and King. Memorials to the heroes of Yorktown and Saratoga. To young Americans who shed their blood on the shores of Normandy and the fields beyond, and others who went down in the waters of the Pacific and the skies all over Asia. And freedom stands tall over one more monument, this one, this Capitol, this living monument. This is the monument to the American people.
The monument to the American people who kowtow to the corporate agenda of the elites. Yeah, chant your cult-like bullshit.
We're a people whose heroes live not only in the past, but all around us, defending hope, pride, and defending the American way. They work in every trade. They sacrifice to raise a family. They care for our children at home. They defend our flag abroad. And they are strong moms and brave kids. They are firefighters and police officers and border agents, medics and Marines. But above all else, they are Americans. And this capital,
They are
this city, this
our
nation
chosen people.
belongs entirely to them.
Hammer down my agenda. It belongs to them and nobody else.
Our task is to respect them, to listen to them, to serve them, to protect them, and to always be worthy of them. Americans fill the world with art and music. They push the bounds of science and discovery, and they forever remind us of what we should never, ever forget. The people dreamed this country. The people built this country. And it's the people who are making America great again.
Ron Paul was live tweeting his tweet in response to that. Prime function of the federal government is not protecting our safety, it's the preservation of our liberty. That forgotten word. Guy.
As long as we are proud of who we are and what we are fighting for, there is nothing we cannot achieve. As long as we have confidence in our values, faith in our citizens, and trust in our God, we will never fail. Our families will thrive. Our people will prosper. And our nation will forever be safe and strong and proud and mighty and free. Thank you, and God bless America. Good night.
Well, that was a shit show, just like expected. Let me know what you thought. Tweet me on Twitter at InsanityIsFree. Jeremiah Talks. Find me on any of my other services. And if you appreciate what I do on a regular basis or what I did tonight, or shooting me a donation, I have 3 ways to do that up on the screen right now. But anyway, I've got some other shit to do. If you tuned in, thanks. If you watched this as a rerun, thank you as well. This has been the State of the Union with Jeremiah Hart.